What's up, guys? It's KB. Make sure you subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. Click the bell icon down below so you don't miss a single video from us. And thanks for tuning in to another video from Underground Sports Philadelphia. Now let's get into it.
Philadelphia, baby, you're going to love it. Best sports fans in the world. Actually, the worst, but that's what makes them the best.
What is going on, OTB Nation? Welcome into episode number 282 of the allegedly award-nominated, honorably mentioned, number 9 NCAA ranked, viewable on YouTube, followable on TikTok, and now on Threads. Look at that. Outside the Box podcast, the official lacrosse podcast on the Underground Sports Philadelphia Podcast Network. It's KB, it's Deej. The PLL is back this week. Our World Lacrosse Championship hiatus is over, and we get PLL action in, as Joe Biden once said, Minnesota this weekend. So we're going to dive into everything coming out at Mini, players playing, players not playing, all that good stuff. And we'll give you our picks. We'll preview everything. And maybe live on the podcast, we'll get DJ to sign up for Threads.
Maybe. Maybe. We'll see.
Gotta get DJ on Threads.
The chances are high.
And if you're on Threads, be sure to follow same handle at OTB Laxpod. Across all of our social media, actually.
Is this the time where I change all my handles to be my name? Because I said I would do that eventually.
I mean, I feel like nobody really has your name.
No.
You have one of the more unique names.
I got to take advantage of the opportunity.
I wonder if you could just go straight up just your first name.
I think I could on like all platforms.
That'd be kind of sick.
I might have to do it.
I just got bamboozled, too. The original co-host of this podcast, Don Ponteri, switched his Twitter handle, and I was very, very lost. I was like, why is he not showing up? Why is he not showing up? And then I found him.
Got him.
I was like, I've been bamboozled, led astray, run amok, and flat out deceived.
Hey, he's not living the washed lifestyle anymore.
No, he is at a Hairy Ape FUT for his FIFA career.
See?
Going all in.
FIFA's a different kind of world, man.
You're telling me.
That is a different kind of world.
You are telling me, brother. But yeah, it's a nice, easy week for the boys as we get set for PLL returning. Be sure to follow us on the socials like I rattled off. Every platform, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Threads are all at OTB Laxpod. Facebook.com/undergroundsportsphi. Follow Deej on Twitter at SCS_next great for now, ? And then once we get Deej on Threads, you'll know his Threads handle and TikTok and Instagram and all that good stuff. Because we're doing the damn thing across every platform, Deej. We're doing it everywhere. We're putting content everywhere.
Y'all are welcome, by the way. I've been pushing so many channels for so long, and he's finally caving it. It's something we call in the radio world 360 content. Well, if you're directing people to all of your content while on all of your content, it's like this big loop.
That was the most exhibit sentence you've ever said on this podcast. I heard you like pushing content while you're pushing your content, so we decided to push your content onto your content.
I'm just saying, if your content is only pushing your content, you are simply only pushing content.
Everywhere at OTB Laxpod and then Facebook.com/undergroundsportsphi. You can follow me on Twitter at KBIZZL311, Instagram and Threads at KBIZZLE11, and then TikTok is KB Underground because both of those handles were taken on TikTok by some ne'er-do-well. Just saying. Probably some 11-year-old.
You the only person called K Bizzle in the whole world.
Yep, I copyright trademarked that shit. That's been
My
around
fault.
since 2007.
My fault. I ain't know that.
I hit it with the emoji real quick.
My
That
fault.
TM emoji, slap.
Yeah.
Mine. I was like the seagulls in Finding Nemo. We are on all the platforms, though, so go follow us, especially if you're on Threads. Like, Threads has been one of the more fun adventures I've been on in a long time. I was talking to Deej about it and, like, what it feels like. It feels like 2007 Facebook and 2011 Twitter all over again. So it's fun to be in the wild, wild west of a social media platform that feels, like, raw and authentic, and everybody's just having a good time. That's what Threads is. Everybody's just having a good time, Deej. There's no toxicity. It's all good vibes.
I don't know though, man. Like, the toxicity of Twitter might be the best part. Like,
but it's a nice cleanse. Like, sometimes you're just so in the mud of the toxicity that
it'll
when you
be
get
nice
cleansed,
to pop over.
it's nice to just like go through the pureness and the chaos that is like just unfiltered absurdities. There's no bots, there's no ads, which is nice.
Okay, no ads. No ads.
It's real nice. There's no rate limit exceeded.
You're talking me into this.
Plus, all the homies are there. Like, it's good if Diggs Tape's there.
That's kind of fair.
Joe Keegs, RJ, Mike and Paul, the Colorado Mammoth already followed us. Real ones.
Sounds like everybody's just waiting on me. The party ain't got started yet because the life of it ain't made it there.
Party don't start till you walk in. Handshake me. You Pink.
Bingo. Pink, we can party any day of the year.
Yo, whenever we do decide on the name for the OTB Hall of Fame, I think the Colorado Mammoth are first ballot. Okay. Simply from my moment with them when I was at NLL HQ in 2019 when they went to the playoffs. Then they win a title, and then they're the only professional sports team to follow us on Threads. They love the Zed thumbs up.
Listen.
I brought the Zed thumbs up to Threads.
You can nominate and throw them in there. But as a Roughnecks fan, I don't think I'm allowed to do that. So. I am on a roll tonight.
All right, Butterman. Let's get into this shit. Ladies and gentlemen, please try and guess what time we're recording this podcast at now. Completely different. See, last week was like Twitter, where it was like, oh, we're just on a toxic grind, like we're not even recording it. This is Threads. Just unfiltered, pure ridiculousness.
Just raw KB and DJ coming at you.
Pause.
I'm trying to tell y'all, man. We are way too funny together.
Yo, just wait until we do a 5-year anniversary show for OTB this winter. And we get Dom and Harrison back on the show. Yo, Harrison posted on social media for the first time in a long time this week. My man was at the Grateful Dead in Colorado.
That's a way to pop back out.
With Pops. Him and his dad going to Boulder, Colorado to see the Grateful Dead.
They could have picked somewhere else to go. But hey, to each their own.
He's always been a deadhead.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
I could see that.
5-year anniversary show is going to be wild. That's in December.
Right around the corner, man.
It's crazy. Be sure to get your merch, phiapparel.co. Code Underground. We're working on new merch. Promise you, I know I've been saying it for a while, but we are working on new merch. A couple things coming to you, old and new, just refreshed and a new style of it. Go to phiapparel.co. Get your OTB merch. We want to see you guys rocking that all PLL season. I'm going to be in Fairfield. I'm going to be in Baltimore. And I want to see all of you in OTB merch. I want to see it. We want to see it on the playoff run. We want to see it at Gillette. We want to see it on Long Island. We want to see it in Philly. Go to phiapparel.co, code underground. You get 10% off any and all merch orders. It's the most effective and direct way to support everything we're doing here at OTB and for Underground Sports Philadelphia. So if you want to support the boys, support the company, go get your merch, tag us, tweet at us, thread us, TikTok us. I don't care what you do. Show off your merch. We'll repost it however we possibly can. phiapparel.co, code underground, 10% off. And, of course, subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel, youtube.com/@Underground Sports Philadelphia. I announce it on every podcast this week, Deej. Hashtag DJ1K. DJ1K. Got to get to 1K for DJ's birthday. Christian proposed that the bad thing that happens if we don't get there is that you have to move to Alaska.
Me? Whoa. Whoa.
And I said he thinks Kalamazoo is cold.
Hey, how can he just volunteer me like that? How about he moves to Alaska?
He said you're gonna end up on like one of those Alaska trucker shows.
I'd probably fit in. Hey, you know what? Actually, it's some hood out in Alaska. I was watching some YouTube reaction to it. They gets gritty out in Alaska. I could probably
gritty.
last. I could probably last. No kizzy. But no
You
way.
strap a GoPro to you, start ice fishing.
No. You know, of all people, I'm not ice fishing.
Underground outdoors. Just in Alaska. You're on the back of a grizzly bear.
Now that. Yeah.
You're just on a GoPro. Roll Woods!
Oh, coming at you live from Alaska.
It's the Alaskan branch of Underground Sports.
I'm just riding my Alaskan bullworm.
It's big, hairy, and pink. DJ, that's its tongue. If that's its tongue, then...
I'm screaming. No way am I moving to Alaska, bro.
Hey, then we got to get to 1,000 subscribers. We got to get the Kalamazoo train going.
Or we could just find some other bad thing.
I thought you were going to say, or we could just find somebody else to move. And I just thought of Patrick. Maybe we take someone else and we move them over here.
I mean, hey, that works too.
We all know who the candidate would be, too.
I'm not gonna say it.
Well,
he could.
I'm also working on getting him credentialed for Gillette so that we have a videographer.
Because listen, bro, he could make a living out there.
Oh, he could make a living in Camp Green Lake from holes.
Yeah.
Pitts would have dropped a whole verse on that rap song.
He'd be out there making nonsense content. It's nonsense. They got me out here digging these holes. But let's see what we find.
Welcome back to Nonsense Hour from Anchorage, Alaska. This is all love. We love our Pat Pitts.
Yeah, we do.
So we're at 515 subscribers on the YouTube. Need to get to 600 before the end of July and 1,000 before DJ's birthday on September 4th. Otherwise, allegedly, he may be moving to Alaska. Which I don't know what the Wi-Fi scenario is out there.
Don't listen to that.
That's going to be the bit until we find out.
Yeah, until you tell the folks I'm moving to Alaska.
I just Photoshop your profile pictures with like Mr. Freeze's face on it from Batman.
I just got to get a picture of Alaska and use it as a background.
You need to post Alaska on every social media platform you have. Because then people will know who listened to this episode. Because it's early enough in the episode, too. We'll know who's listening if you just no caption, no nothing, just Alaska. That's your first post on Threads.
Home with a period.
Home is where the subscribers are. We are unhinged.
Hashtag DJ1K.
Who 1K? Do we need to make Alaska merch now?
Oh my god, we might have to. we got listeners in Alaska.
We might. I'll have to check.
Yeah, Lacrosse exists out there, right?
Alaska Lacrosse Club. That might be merch. That'd be kind of fire.
Yeah. I'd rock.
This time next year, we're doing a live pod from fucking Igloo in Alaska.
Who flying us out there?
Alaska Lacrosse Club.
Oh, okay.
LLC.
Hey, okay. That's fine. I know something else. ALC. That's what we call alcohol. That can get us there, too.
I said LLC, not ALC.
Oh my bad. Please drink responsibly, children.
Subscribe to the YouTube channel so Deeds doesn't have to move to Alaska.
Oh my god, bro.
There it is.
Oh.
Let's get into it, bro.
Good thing we don't have too much to get into.
Let's just start off with the PLL news and notes. A lot of transactions have gone down since the World Lacrosse Championship has kind of calmed down and everything. The unbelievable video of Matt Rambo in the club. Have you seen that?
No.
We're going to get a real-time reaction to this one. Rambo posted this on his Instagram, and then that Lacrosse Out of Context account posted it.
No context across.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
I'm sending this to you right now. This is arguably one of the funniest videos with absolutely zero context I've ever seen in my entire life. We will put this in the video version for people on YouTube in case you haven't seen it. But please click on the full video because it's screen recorded from his Instagram story. And read the top left corner.
I mean,
It's the most Matt Rambo video ever.
I
mean that sincerely and with all my love.
He's not wrong.
He's not wrong.
And I can't really blame him because I'd be on the same type of time.
Rambo is packing heat. What a sign in the club.
In the club, though. Like,
that might be merch we have to put out, too. Rambo's packing
listen.
heat on a club sign.
The first time I go to a club like that, and my friends ain't got a message for me on the sign, they not my friends no more.
You heard that, Quay? I'm surprised they didn't do that for you for getting Coach of the Year.
Man, what?
That should have been on a sign.
That should have been on a sign somewhere. It ain't too late, people.
It's for
You
the
can get me a
year.
sign.
It's for the year.
You
Next,
got
you're reigning coach of the year. It still applies.
You got until next June. You got until next June. Like, you got plenty of time to get me a sign. Maybe give me a little small one that I can, like, hang up down here somewhere.
So funny.
I mean, I'll just change it to, like, something else of the year every year. Because, like I mentioned, I doubt.
Be like Woody Page. With the chalkboard.
Yes.
Oh, it's so good. That's so good. We do have a bunch of player transactions that have gone down. So since June 19th, a few things have occurred. Ty Kurtz has officially been added to Chaos's roster, which we didn't touch on just because the PLL was in their break. He's officially added to the roster. Mike Adler was released to the player pool in the corresponding move. Jesse Bernhardt was back, and he's going to be out this week on the PUP list, as well as JT Giles Harris for Chrome. Jack Rowlett is on the PUP list this week. Ryan Lee is on the PUP list, out for season with a knee injury. Shout out to the boy. Best wishes. Speedy recovery. Somebody get vibranium for Ryan Lee's knees. Because it sucks not seeing him on the field, especially with this Redwood squad, because he plays so well with RP3.
It
just breaks my heart.
It sucks to see him hurt again, especially so quickly, because he was just getting over the injury from last box season. But I don't know if he would have really gotten PT. Like, he doesn't really fit the midfield role and the style of play that the Redwoods use. And I mean, Westberg has been fantastic on the inside, and I don't really see Nat going away from the Rob, Garnsey, Berg lineup anytime soon, because it is working down at attack. So, like, I don't know kind of if Ryan would have really even gotten a chance to do anything this year, which also sucks.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a double whammy here. Was we don't know if we would have seen him or how much of him we would have seen, and now we don't get a chance at that at all because he's hurt again after just dealing with an injury not too long ago. He's got the D Rose knees, man. It's scary.
Lord forbid. Lord forbid. It does suck too that, like, we're not going to see what we thought was going to be like Denver-esque Redwoods, because Ryan Lee's hurt. Obviously, we've got Wes Berg, and he's playing phenomenal. Probably on pace to have his best season in the PLL ever. Eli McLaughlin was released to the player pool simply because he's playing MSL this summer. So to not see Eli this year in the PLL also sucks. But guess who's back? But to the holdout list, Clark Peterson. It's like Atari playing Pong between Redwoods and Atlas with Clark Peterson.
And Brett Adams.
Except Brent took one little detour to the cannons for a little bit, and straight away he was like, "Oh, I like that."
Never mind.
Clark's back, but on the holdout list. Will we see him play? Who knows? But he's effectively what we have said is like Ryan Lee 2.0 for this offense. So, I mean, Clark can kind of play out of the midfield a little bit, but I don't know if it'll happen. We'll see. But he's on the holdout list, so we won't know until he's activated. Matt Rambo also on the PUP list from World Championship as well.
And I also just feel like the Redwoods might be the hardest midfield to crack outside of maybe Archers. Archers are maybe the only one who likes really.
This season in particular, I would say the Archers are more difficult. The way a certain somebody we said last week has the yips.
Yeah, but like
It
I
wouldn't
also
shock
think
me if he gets, like, not saying this week obviously, but it wouldn't shock me if at some point, like, if it continues to trend that way, if it's like, okay, we have to do something to, like, get you to get your mind right, get your shot back, and put somebody else in the lineup that could contribute.
yeah, but I mean I'm saying for guys like Clark and Ryan, like if you're not, I guess it's just so I put them kind of on the same scale now that I'm really thinking about it. Um, with Redwoods, it's simply, are you big, fast, strong, tall? Can you pass? Can you shoot? And
Why
then
did I
like
hear you say that in a Hulk voice?
I don't know.
Big, fast, strong, tall. Smash.
And that's like the whole MO is like they want to be as big as they can and kind of power through and use strength in the midfield. Versus archers, it's simply who are the six best midfielders we have, and one or two of you
It's
are going
kind
to
of
end
the
up
case for
going
chaos too.
two-way. Yes, but I feel like they have found a rotation, and AT has even talked about kind of having a rotation, especially this year, of like guys being in for a couple games and then guys being out, which I think I'm going to revisit and ask him kind of, and maybe ask a couple players too as they're in a game and they end up being in a press conference, kind of how does it mess with their flow, or how do they feel as a player who's trying to play, getting a game or two games, maybe three games, then having to sit one or two games as well. Like how does that mess with you mentally, physically, that whole thing, or is it even a bother at all? So I just like chaos kind of is separate in that because they have this rotation, even down with their attack too. They don't even put out the same attack all the time. Everything always rotates, on that offensive side of the ball. So I don't know. I feel like when you're looking at pure skill, though, archers, 100%.
The rich got richer this week too. Jack Myers released by Chrome, which we'll get into why in a minute. Signed by the Whipsnakes immediately, as was Matt Rahill via free agency. So the rich get richer as the Whipsnakes just continue to get younger, faster, more lethal in every which way.
But
Also,
when does he?
Oh no,
when does he play?
Next year.
For who?
Um,
Because sure, he starts an attack for Zed while he's playing ball, but then when Zed comes back, what happens then? I would assume Zed gets the spot back because he's Zed. So then, does he start at attack somewhere else, or do you just put him in the midfield? And then who do you take out of the midfield?
I was gonna say midfield, and this is all just we've talked about this a ton.
You expect
it all based on Channy coming back or not.
Mm-hmm. That's now. If he doesn't come back, then it's an easy.
Because the Whipsnakes midfield, we've talked about it a ton too. Like that's one where like you have a shot to actually like.
It's kind of up for grabs right now. Low-key.
Like you have Garrett Ledman playing in there right now. Channy's there.
You got the curse brother.
Yeah.
Who else is in the midfield? Keegan Khan's there. I feel like it's Jack. No, Jack Boyce got released, right?
I'll tell you right now. No, he's there. He's just out.
Okay.
So they're listed midfield, and the reason it is kind of easier to crack right now is because Brad Smith is out injured as well. But it's Channy. They have Tucker listed as a midfielder. Wheaton, Jack Boyce, Keegan Khan, Garrett Ledman, Jackson Reed, and then Brad Smith.
Jackson Reed, that was the other one I was looking for. Yeah.
So, I mean, like, also the collection of defenders that Stags is just piecing together from the player pool is ridiculous. To add to Matt Dunn, Tim Muller, Bryce Young, and then you bring Matt Rahill back. I totally forgot they signed Brett Kennedy when he got released.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have Colin Hinton and Elijah Gash on their roster.
That's going to be the main thing is how does their defense translate over? Because they're getting to that point where like their D is going to start retiring and their guys are getting old and they're going to have to turn the page to a younger D. Do they try and change the identity?
The first one will be Matt Dunn. I mean, Matt Dunn's my age, so
Yeah,
they still have probably another, at most, like 3 years of like peak, like prime from this collective.
maybe.
Because the other guys in there, Tim Muller and Bryce, are 27.
Maybe.
And I still think their defense as a collective is playing at an extremely high level.
I mean, they've been pretty good.
I think they've been
I don't
better
know.
than what they showed last year.
I feel like they're really conceding a lot of shots. You think they're better than they were last year? Dog,
Yeah.
they were like 9-1 last year.
Yeah, but think about how many shots Kyle Bernlohr was swallowing last year, like that was getting past that deep. We talked about it a ton last year, where their defense was like kind
Yeah,
of
and I
leaving
think
Kyle out to dry, and Kyle was like picking up the slack, and that's why he was an MVP candidate.
and I think they're still kind of playing like that.
I think it's been better than what it was last year.
I don't, and I think that's why they're 1-2, and they're really just not 0-3 because the Woods. I don't even know. They just didn't show up for 2.5 quarters. Like if they played the last quarter and if they played the first 2.5, like they played the last quarter and a half, like that would have gone just like the rest of the Whips games have gone.
I mean,
this year.
Let's also keep it a buck. Both games were 1-goal games that they lost. It's not like they got blown out.
Yeah, I'm not saying. I just think
especially that Atlas game that was won with like 4 seconds left.
Like now that this is year 5, like looking at this year, 3 games and counting this year as a full year, the last 3 years, like they've been conceding a lot of shots and giving up a lot of goals. Like they don't look like the dominant defense that they looked like the first 2 years. Now, they could still be really good and the offenses are just getting better, but they don't seem to be that echelon of defense that people are trying to emulate in the league anymore.
I disagree, but sound off in the YouTube comment section how you feel about the Whipsticks defense. That'll be a fun clip.
Yeah.
The other transactions that have gone through, just to finish recapping here. So Sean Lully and Bailey Savio were released so that Jack Myers and Matt Rahill could get signed. And then cue the bat signal. That's something we got to get photoshopped. This is the bat signal, but with either the Chrome logo or this guy's face. He's back. The reigning Rookie of the Year, Brendan Nichtern, officially activated from the military list. Pseudo said he would be back in July. So everyone who was freaking out, don't know why you were doing that. Nichtern's back. I'm excited to just see how he looks in game speed if he is in fact playing this week, which I would fully expect he is because, if I'm not mistaken, Chrome are playing on Friday, and that's a big reason why he's able to play. Because I believe his military obligations are on weekends. So it's like Saturday, Sunday. So when there's Friday games, he's going to be able to play. I'm just excited to see him back on the field and just see how he performs. Obviously, he's in tip-top physical condition and shape due to his military oblos. Just see how he looks, out there with the boys. See how that affects the positioning of some of these guys. Jackson Morrell's been on a hardcore comeback player of the year candidacy this year. see where that, bumps him in the lineup one way or the other, see where it bumps Dylan Malloy, see where it bumps a Colin Heacock. I'm just pumped that Nick Turn's back. I think the league is better when Nick Turn's in it.
Yeah, I think this team's better when Nick Turn's on it, and a matter of the ball moves better. I feel like there's been a lot of times this year where the ball's gotten stagnant in the Chrome's offense and stuck in one guy's stick. He's dodged a couple times, nothing really there. He's still kind of just running around. Not even just Logan, a couple other guys too. Like it seems very,
but like very notably more so than last year with Logan.
Yeah,
like Logan's gotten like stuck almost.
But I think some of that is compensation as well. No offense, but he's playing with a couple of rookies out there. Nick Turn's not there. Dylan Malloy wasn't there for her. Like, he just went from playing with two guys on his attack line every week last year to playing with two guys he had never played before for the first couple of weeks. Like, there's a lot that changed. You're saying? Yeah. Okay. So there's a lot that changed for him. And then he also, he has Sam Handley and the ever-changing
who also midfield. Has kind of been, like, stuck in neutral.
Yeah. And then you have everything going on with the midfield, and they're trying to figure that out and who's going to play there and when they're going to play and all of that. So he's kind of overcompensated as being the one piece that's consistent.
And he just had his best game right before the break against Cannons.
Yeah. And it's just a lot of pressure on him, in my opinion. It's like, hey, like, he's Logan Wisnauskas. He's been here for the past year. Like, he's expecting everybody, the offense to run through him. Everybody's expecting the offense to run through him. It's just a lot. It's pretty much.
And I also think it's the defenses he was facing in those first 2 weeks, like, played him extremely well. That Whipsnakes defense held him to 17% shooting. There's an argument in my favor.
Yeah.
And then the Archers held him to 20% shooting, and in the first two games combined, he had 4 points, 1 goal, 1 assist in both games, on 11 shots, turned the ball over 6 times in those 2 games combined. And then last week against the Cannons, 5 points, had a hat trick, 2 assists on 6 shots, shot 50%, just 2 turnovers, 3 ground balls, which is the most he's had in any game this year. So he almost doubled all of his season stats in one game against the Cannons. So I mean, to see that this week potentially against a very good Water Dogs defense is going to be something to watch, especially with Nick Turn back in the lineup, to see how, because last year we talked about this a ton too with Logan, Logan and Nick Turn together. 1 week it would be Nick Turn's week to score and Logan's week to pass, and then the following week it would be Logan's time to score. Nick Turn would be dishing and dealing and racking up the assists. So it's going to be interesting to kind of see how they plan to deploy, no pun intended there, Nick Turn and Logan, and how they're going to utilize their skill sets, and who's kind of the passer this week, which if I had to guess, it might be Nick Turn, unless they want to kind of just let him play ISO at X and just be like, here you go score, and just finish. That's going to be the fun part of watching this matchup.
Hear me out. Crazy. I know. It probably won't happen. But Nick Turn out of the box.
For the brand?
Not even just for the brand, which, yes, outside of the box. Please do it. But I think it might even be better for...
Instead of Jackson? Because I figured,
Yeah. And you leave
that's
Jackson.
The traditional thing that happened last year would be Jackson coming out of the box with...
Yeah. But I think you leave Jackson down with Dylan and Logan. That's the attack group that's been there for most of the year.
Unless Dylan has another wedding.
Right. But then you just leave them down there for the year. That's the attack line for the year. Let them gain that chemistry for the season and move forward as a group. And then, if you get, dude, you can roll out Sam Handley, Brendan Nickturn and Colin Heacock and or Justin Anderson, and they have to decide who to pull. And even if they double pull, you still have someone really good going against a short stick one-on-one. And one of your attackmen is now one-on-one with a short stick. Like, you don't
That
lose.
midfield you just listed off is everything that Nat dreams of from the Redwoods midfield.
Literally. And, like, there's really no way to stop that. Like, you kind of just have so many options to go with in that set of offense. There's literally
that's the Jack Harlow midfield.
It could work though. I mean,
yeah, that's got to be one of your midfield calls next year. Harlow.
I think, yeah. We're gonna do.
That's your midfield gameplay when you know you got options.
It does. I like it, man. I like the idea of him coming out of the box.
I don't hate
because then
the
it
concept.
it doesn't mess with anything if he has to miss a week because it's a Saturday, Sunday, and he's off on military. He's just not in the midfield lineup rotation versus constantly having to switch that guy back and forth between midfield and attack, depending on whether you play on the weekend or you play Friday.
Right. Not a bad option. Shout out Jack Harlow.
Coach and brain be coming in handy sometimes.
Last bit of news too. It seems like we're also getting another return of one of the boys, hopefully eventual guest on this podcast, making his potential Atlas debut this weekend. Posted the eyes emoji, picture from training camp. Gutty. Looks like he's making his debut for Atlas this weekend, ? Also, if he is, over under on the odds that we get Trevor mic'd up and we get a 2023 version of Gutty on the broadcast. He's got to score for him to do it, in my opinion. I'm going to set it at like 22%.
Yeah, it's pretty low. One, that he's got to have nice legs under him and be able to get off a solid shot and score. I'm not saying he can't, but week 4 at this time of the year is an interesting time to be jumping in. But also, I just don't know that they mic up Trevor again.
I think whenever you can mic up Trevor, you mic up Trevor.
I
Trevor pays the bills.
Yeah, but I really feel like there's a hidden gem on their team that we should be miking up. Because like it's always Tucker or Trevor. Like,
I feel like the rest of that team is just so quiet.
Why
and the only other option in my brain is like mic up the sideline and put the boy Drake Porter mic'd up.
Oh, I was gonna say like Craig Chick. Like for some reason, I feel like Craig Chick is just a menace.
Well, that's because he wears white socks and black cleats.
But he's like one of those. He's one of those chill menaces. That's like out there. Like
he doesn't fit the terms and conditions of being mic'd up.
He's like whispering stuff though. You know what I'm saying? Like he's saying it.
We don't need Craig Chick ASMR on the broadcast.
I do though. Like I
want
to know. I want to know what he's saying to the guy right across.
DJ wants to pretend that Craig Chick is cutting his hair to help him fall asleep.
I mean, pretty much, bro. Like,
isoball. Shh.
I mean, I can just imagine like he comes out and he's like, "Boop, got your belly button." Like, I can imagine that's the kind of
whatever you're into, bro. Whatever you're into.
I can just imagine like that's the kind of stuff Craig Chick's out there saying to people, and that would just be funny to me. Is to just hear the little quirky, small stuff that he says to a defender that only, or to an offender that only that guy can hear. Because like. Especially if you're like locking a guy off, like you're face to face, and eventually the guy just starts talking to you because he's like, "Dude, this happens every game. Like, I'm just way too good, and people lock me off." And you're like, "Bro, I don't want to do this. My coach just told me to." Like,
Bro,
but
you know,
I can just imagine he's talking some real smack.
You know what we got to talk about? I need you real quick to go to the PLL's website and go to the Atlas roster.
Oh no. Oh no.
I need you to look at Brett Maker's headshot. Because why is this motherfucker the human embodiment of handsome Squidward?
Chill. Leave him be.
Did you see it?
Yeah.
He's handsome Squidward, bro. He's got the jawline. He's hitting the Zoolander pose. He's got the raised eyebrow.
Leave him be.
Him and Gavin Adler are like complete polar opposites.
Yeah. Why are we miking up Danny Logan? Like, there's no way that guy isn't out there just yapping. Like, come on.
Danny Logan, hashtag yapper.
Castabile.
That's because if Brian does a backflip, the mic's going to fall out.
Xander Dixon kind of looks like Fanboy.
Xander Dixon looks like the meme of the kid who looks really tired and is like giving you this look.
No, Xander Dixon looks like the skinny guy from Mr. Meaty.
There's no way you just violated this man like that.
I can't believe I did, bro. It's so spot on.
Oh no. I can't unsee that. You call this man Josh from fucking Mr. Meaty.
It's so spot on.
That's the episode. We're done here.
We gotta at least.
Oh my god.
We gotta at least feed the ducks.
Holy shit.
Oh, bro.
He dropped the Mr. Meaty reference.
Unhinged.
That's unbelievable. That is unbelievable.
I'm sorry.
Man.
I'm sorry.
Now you got me trying to look for the Parker. God damn it.
I couldn't help it. Like,
oh.
I don't think I'm ever going to be able to unsee that.
Xander Dixon is Josh from Mr. Meaty. That's crazy.
Oh, he's going to have to, like, grow out his facial hair big time.
I'm going to send you... You know the meme I was talking about, though? Of the
Which
tired
one?
kid who's, like, looking at you like this? I'm
Maybe.
going to send it to you so you can get an idea.
I think so.
It's like...
I think so.
I don't know if it's like a Addams Family animated thing or... I forget what show or movie it's from.
With the baseball cap?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's who I immediately think of when I see Xander. But now you put Mr. Meaty in my brain.
I'm sorry.
That's crazy. Yeah, this kid with the dinosaur baseball jersey right here. That's Xander Dixon to a T, bro.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Oh,
see,
man.
that's more wholesome than what I said.
That's crazy. Anyway, let's get into our Minnesota preview. It's brought to you by Tomahawk Shades, the best small batch eyewear in the game. Deej, you've been wearing Tomahawk shades all summer long while you're coaching. I'm wearing them when I'm outside. I'm wearing the blue light glasses while I'm inside. I'll be wearing them for sure this weekend. And all of those late nights that we have coming up in the month of August when we're watching the PLL from home. You guys can do the same thing. They also have prescription lenses available. Tomahawk shades, owned by 2 former lacrosse players. Kyle Harrison, ever heard of them? Chris Hogan, ever heard of them? They are the best. They've been rocking with us for years, and we can't get enough of their high-quality products for a portion of the price of the big eyewear companies. Go to tomahawkshades.com. Use promo code USP at checkout, and you get 25% off your order from our friends at Tomahawk Shades. The best in the game. That's code USP for 25% off at checkout at tomahawkshades.com. Minnesota preview, Deej. Let's get through this before we get to our picks. These are the matchups we have. It is, to kick us off, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, Water Dogs Chrome. That Jersey matchup always tends to go crazy. Excited to see who's wearing what in that matchup. Faux show. Also just a very fun matchup across the board. Then we have the nightcap at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Both of these games on ESPN+. Cannons Atlas, the Paul Rabel Bowl. Cannons coming off their first win going into the break. Atlas trying to get back to where they feel they belong. Not a grade school, not a travel ball final play, as Coach Pressler put it. That's your 2 games on Saturday. Then we go to Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN2 and ESPN+. It's the game of the week. Redwoods, Chaos. Very fun matchup, as always. And then the final game at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time, Whipsnakes Archers on ESPN+. Will Manny's first game against his former team. What matchup are you looking forward to the most, Deej? And which team are you most intrigued by coming out of the break to kind of see where they pick back up?
Most interested for Whips Archers. Both coming off of wins and looking to build off some momentum. Archers trying to get back in the first place and boost out that score differential and kind of get their ball back rolling and be the team that everybody thinks they're going to be this year. But I'm most intrigued. And then obviously the flip side of that is the Whipsnakes being the Whipsnakes trying to crawl out of the 1-2 hole they've dug themselves into to start the year and looking to build off good momentum of beating their rival. But if I'm not mistaken, other than maybe last year, they don't really do well after beating the Woods, which is really weird. I don't know if it's kind of one of those highs where like they're riding the high and they don't show up for the next game, but maybe the break for Worlds is going to do well for them. But just interested to kind of see who takes advantage of their last win and pushes to build off that momentum there. But I'm probably most intrigued to see Cannons coming out of the break. Who's getting net, how their offense continues to build off of some of the really good things that they've had going for the first 3 weeks. Like, I think they've lost a couple 1-goal games, and then last week they put it all together. And, I mean, the offense has been flying around. So how does their offense kind of stay on that same trend that they were on, even with the 10-day break for Worlds? And then is the defense able to figure defense in middle of the field? Are they able to figure anything out to bolster the offense and continue on the winning trend that they were able to find a couple weeks ago in Columbus?
Yeah, I'm trying to pull up and see the Whipsnakes coming off a game against the Redwoods. So in 2019, after they lost to the Redwoods, they then beat Atlas the following week. And then when they beat the Redwoods in Canada, the 17-4 game in 2019, the next week they then lost to Archers 11-8. And then obviously they went undefeated in the bubble. And then in 2021, they beat them there. Yeah, so 2021 was obviously a little different because they had the double headers. But they played Redwoods the first day in Albany and won. And then on the Sunday, they lost to the Archers 15-14 on the Connor Fields game winner. When else did they play Redwoods that year? Oh, that was just a one and done. So what happened the following week? So then when Redwoods beat them in Minneapolis in 2021, then we had the All-Star break, and then coming out of the break, Water Dogs beat Whipsnakes in Colorado 11-6. But I still think, I forget if Matt Rambo was out for that game still with that hand injury.
I believe so. But,
so,
I mean,
but
it still bodes pretty well that the game after the Woods for Whipsnakes normally doesn't go well for them. Not saying that would be the case this time. It'll be interesting to see if they're able to flip that script. But the Archers are kind of still fighting that uphill battle of being this team that's supposed to be like dominant and everybody expects to be in a championship game and just hasn't been there yet.
Yeah, I'm intrigued by the Whips Archers game because both of those teams have like a lot to prove to a lot of people. And then I have two teams that I'm intrigued to see how they are coming out of the break. One is the Water Dogs. Coming off that high of the comeback win against Atlas and Columbus, going into your first game this year without Connor Kelly, having that 2-point threat eliminated from your offense. How does that change your offense going up against this Chrome team? Obviously, will be a much different looking defense because they're missing two of their three, potentially all three if Mike Manley's not ready to go, which hasn't been announced, so I doubt that he's going to miss. But obviously, he was dealing with that back injury in Columbus down the stretch of that game for them. But that's going to be an interesting look to see how the Water Dogs offense maneuvers without having that 2-point threat, very similar like the Whipsnakes having Chaney. They have Connor Kelly, who's been the best 2-point scorer in the last 3 years of the PLL. So that changes your offense when you don't have that threat, especially late in games to help you tie something up or take a lead. And Connor Kelly's been dominant this year to start the year, so to not have him in the offense, I'm intrigued to see how the offense rolls and see who steps up there. And then on the flip side, I'm intrigued by Chrome. You don't have two of your three key defenders against a Water Dogs team that still has a bunch of scorers that can put goals up at will. You're getting Brendan Nichtern back. Intrigued to see how he's playing. Plus, this Chrome team, if the playoffs started right now, they would not be in the playoffs. They have a lot to prove. They are another team very similar to the Archers after winning the championship series, who have championship expectations, not only from fans of the league, but from their locker room themselves. They now know that they can win as a team and have what it takes to get over any type of hump to win a championship, even when the odds are against them. So they have a lot to prove to themselves. They're 1-2. And this is a big-time game for them to get right and get back on track to where they believe they belong in the pantheon of this PLL standings.
Yeah, I'm more so intrigued at Chrome and how they handle the adversity of all their changes rather than Water Dogs. I think this fits Water Dogs very well, and I think it gives an opportunity for their attack line to kind of catch their footing. They've kind of been getting beat up and really pressured and getting the very best of guys. But I mean, that's what happens when you are the reigning champs is you do get the very best from people, but the attack has had a very rough time in getting.
And most of their attack is coming off World Championship too. Kieran, Sowers, Ryan Conrad, Connor Kelly's on the pup list. Who else am I forgetting from this Water Dogs offense? That might have been it.
Yeah.
But still,
I
those
think
are
so.
three key guys.
I mean,
Who
Zach Currier.
Courier for Team Canada is questionable. This could be a big week for Jake Carraway.
And I mean, I think Michael Sowers too. I think, and honestly, maybe
This might be
more
the
so
best
Kieran
week
and
for Sowers not to not get thrown to the ground as
I,
much as he has.
maybe because Manly's probably still going to be good to go, and he was probably going to draw that matchup anyway. Maybe they gave it to JT.
I was gonna say I think they would have put JT on him.
Me personally, I probably would put JT on Kieran. Um,
I would have put Jesse on Kieran.
but is Jesse good to go?
No,
Like
Jesse's out this week.
you know what I'm saying? Like I'm pretty sure Jesse isn't playing.
Yeah, Jesse and JT are not playing.
Yeah, but
That's
I
what I'm
think.
saying. If those two were playing, I would have gone
Well, I
Jesse
don't
on
know.
Kieran and
Well,
then
we knew
JT
Jesse
on
wasn't
Sowers.
playing. We knew Jesse wasn't playing this week. JT has been in like the last day or so that this happened. So I think it was under the assumption that JT probably would have been guarding Sowers. But I personally probably would have put him on Kieran. I just think the way Manly plays is kind of how you have to play, Mike. With Sowers, you have to be a little aggressive and kind of make him understand that it's going to be a long day for him if he wants to dodge and kind of force the ball out of his hand. Whereas JT is going to he'll let you dodge and kind of just play fundamental defense. He's not really going to beat you up too much or really bother you. He's just going to be in the way. And that doesn't necessarily work for Sowers, but it works for Kieran. And kind of just aggravating him, always being in front, always having your stick there. That's how you get to Kieran. You don't the aggressive game doesn't do anything to Kieran. He's like, all right, I'll just bull dodge you or work around you and score. Versus Sowers kind of gets not necessarily intimidated, but he's small, and that puts a wear on his body, and it's a lot harder for him to get things going. I just look back at how Jack and Jared played him at the beginning of the year, and it was very aggressive, very hard. They hit him a lot, stick checked him very hard the entire time, and it was just difficult for him. So I personally would have gone Manly on Sowers regardless, but that's definitely going to be the matchup now. So I think Carraway and Kieran have to take advantage, especially if one of them is going to get shorted, which I think they might, because the Water Dogs have been doing a lot of double pulling up at face. So one of them is probably going to draw a short stick as well. So the Water Dogs attack line has a really good chance to bounce back this week. Excuse me.
Fantasy advice, because I'm about to do it right now. I'm putting Jake Carraway in my fantasy lineup.
Okay. I like it. My one fantasy thing this week is let's pay attention to lineups, pay attention to Twitter, find out what goalie is starting for the Water Dogs. I will say Dylan Ward did look pretty good in Worlds. So if he comes back and he starts, he's only 7 bones on the cap hit. Take advantage. Get a really cheap goalie that's going to do well, and then you can bolster some of your other positions. And that's kind of something I'm looking at right now. I got Blaze in at goalie right now, but if I
Actually,
can
I don't know
swap
if I'm
out,
putting Jake Carraway in my lineup because he's only 1 coin less than Michael Sowers.
yeah, exactly. 20 Caraway is 20, right?
28. And Sowers is
Yeah.
29.
That's a little steep.
Just a smidge. No big deal. We'll survive.
But yeah, I'm looking at possibly swapping out Dylan Ward for Blaze and having some 40 extra points to move around with. And and make some changes. But yeah, Dylan Ward's 7 points is arguably a steal, or 7 coins. Excuse me, 7 coins is arguably a steal.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what we're intrigued about from Minnesota. Before we do picks, should we give our fantasy lineups? We always forget to do this. Now, these are subject to change, obviously.
Definitely this week are these subject to change. But I'm down.
Who you got, Deej?
I got a super
2
heavy,
phones.
super heavy attack line. So I guess I'll start down at the bottom. Connor Farrell at faceoff. He's been pretty solid this year, but I think he's running into a really good scenario with water dogs where they have been double pulling the face. They've even been putting some long pulls at the face to try and neutralize. They just kind of just don't have it there, and they're still running the rookie tandem and trying to figure out who's going to do it for them there. So he has a chance to play really well. And I thought only being 15 bones, I could take a shot on him. And he's maybe somebody that I end up swapping out for a TD Erlin if Dylan Ward does start and I'm able to swap Blaze, who I have at goalie right now. At D, I have John Sexton. He's very tentative right now. If I do get a chance to swap out Dylan Ward, I'll definitely be going elsewhere in D and moving up a few and probably grabbing someone in the 17 range, which right now is Rylan Reeves, Michael Earhart, Witcher, John Robbins,
I think
etc.
Earhart's out this week.
They have not, yeah. Which I've been kind of, and which I wouldn't even hate going Squires at that point. And he's at 23, so it's only 6 extra coins at that point. I'd have it. Squires has been great, and if he's going to get more tick, like there's no reason not to go for it. Dane Smith at 12 points, I thought was an absolute steal, so I smashed that. Like obviously he hasn't gotten a bunch of PT. They only have one game to go off of, and I don't know why he's only 12 and he scored 24 points last week, but he's Dane Smith. And he's going against the Redwoods defense, which is good, but not great. We know this. No secret.
Especially with Owen Grant and Arden Cohen both questionable with ankle injuries.
Yep. And then Matt Campbell coming in at my other midfield spot, and then who's actually been very, very consistent so far. 17, 24, and 24 for fantasy points so far this year. So he's been racking it up and doing a great job at being a very helpful stick in that Cannons offense, which has a lot of attention down in their attack line. So him going against Atlas, who hasn't been great defensively. Their short six D mids are pretty good, but Brett Maker is still finding his way very much at the midfield.
Squidward.
In the LSM up there. So there's some opportunity there, even if he does get the pole. And then obviously Jeff Teat at attack. If you don't have him or Ryder every week, you're kind of doing it wrong. One of those guys, if not both, is popping off for 50 or 60 a week. That's kind of just what they do. And then Connor Fields, I think he's going to have another really good game, and he's going to bounce back, or not necessarily bounce back. I mean, he started off really hot, had a decent game week 2, and then played really well in week 3. So I think he's just going to continue that trend of being a go-to stick for the Archers.
Here is my fantasy lineup for Minnesota. I'll start from the top. My attack, I've got Ryder Garnsey at 49. If you can get Ryder under 50 coins, that's great because he's going to pop off. And if there's one thing we've known from just collecting the data, the one player who knows how to beat Blaze Reardon is Ryder Garnsey. For whatever reason, Ryder has Blaze's number. It's crazy the things that Ryder's able to do in general, but he finds ways to beat Blaze that no other player on the planet has been able to do. I forget what the stat is that Joe Keegan put out last year when we were in the press box. Like, the amount of goals that Ryder has scored against Blaze versus the rest of the PLL is insane. So I'm going with Ryder, and then I've got Michael Sowers. When you get Sowers under 30, that's a beautiful thing. So 29 coins for Michael Sowers. Then my midfield, I'm also taking Dane Smith at 12. Like you said, it's a steal. The only other steal that's been better this year was when Mac O'Keefe was 1 coin in week 1. Other than that, Dane Smith at 12 coins is going to be a beautiful thing that will pay off handsomely. And then I've got producer Jonathan Donville at 17 coins. To get him coming off a down week last week where he's had 18 and 15 in the 2 prior weeks to the last week of the PLL before the break, he's in a prime spot to bounce back for this Cannons team going up against an Atlas squad that, like you said, like they have been privy to giving up goals. They are not as fluid as I think a lot of people thought it would be to start the year. There's a lot of rookies, and I think Donnie's having a great year so far and fits this Cannons team very, very well. So for Donnie and Dane to combine for 29 coins as my midfield, that's crazy. Then defense, I've got Tim Muller at 20 coins. My goalie is Brett Dobson, which I like even more now that Rambo is going to be out this week. And then I'm taking Trevor Baptiste against Cannons because why would I not do that? That's a smart decision. That's probably, that is the elite decision versus the bargain elite decision that you are taking with Connor Farrell going up against the Water Dogs, where those two guys this week I think have the best matchups.
Yeah, I also think TD, even going against Nick Rowlett, who has been good and has made that transition, TD's in that space where he's starting to find his groove, and he knows how it works in that whole piece. And he's gotten really good help from his wings this year. I don't think that was always something TD has gotten, was wing help, and this year it seemed to be an emphasis on getting the wings in, getting the help. I mean, they weren't that old.
I mean, Kyle Hartzell was pretty old last year.
I mean, he's still on the wing for the Cannons and getting it done.
Yeah, I mean, look at the offseason work he put in.
That's fair.
That's good on him.
But yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying like it's a fault, but like, let's be real. In athlete years, Kyle Hartzell is old.
Yeah, and I'm not saying he didn't get help last year, but the help that he's getting this year is a lot better, and it's made his numbers better, and it's made him kind of just relax and be able to do his craft with the best ability. So I think he has a really good matchup as well this week. I think the only matchup that's kind of possibly up in the air is the 2 rookies in Sisselberger and LaSalle. And I only say it's up in the air because I really feel like it's going to go one of 2 ways. Either it's just going to be a really good battle back and forth, and we're going to get to see a great face-off stripe, or Sisselberger is just going to dominate. Because we've seen LaSalle hold his weight, but we've also seen him kind of struggle. We haven't seen LaSalle pop off and be really good. Mm-hmm. We've just seen one or the other. So that's the only reason I have that opinion on that matchup.
Yeah. If I had to rank them, though, in terms of face-off matchups this week, I'd say it's 1, Trevor, because it's Trevor. 1A is Connor Farrell, and then 2, I think, is TD, because it's TD.
Yeah, and TV's slowly getting back to that being 1A every week just because he's TD.
And, like, sure, Connor Farrell is losing possessions, but he's winning possessions at the same time late in games, which is important. So let's get into it. Let's go to the pick pond for the first time in a long time, Deej. It is the PLL Minnesota Picks of the Week, powered by Trophy Smack. Guys, there's no better way to upgrade your fantasy smack talk than with our friends over at Trophy Smack. They've got belts, rings, trophies, metal wall art, last place trophies. They got a golden toilet trophy, Deej. I think that is phenomenal for your loser of your league. I've also heard that potentially they print out golden tickets for losers of leagues to get you on a one-way flight to Alaska. That's what we call a callback, ladies and gents. Go to trophysmack.com/underground and start upgrading your fantasy smack talk today. That's trophysmack.com/underground to upgrade your fantasy smack talk. Deej, we start things off in Minnesota with the Dogs and the Beauties. Water Dogs versus Chrome. How you got this one playing out, my man?
Even with possible injuries, I think there's possible injuries on both sides for this one. I just think the ones that the Beauties have to deal with are a little bit more pressing of an issue, and then they also have other guys out for other reasons, which really limits their roster and the things they can do. So I gotta lean Water Dogs on this one.
I'm with you. I just think the Water Dogs, having their offense intact, not having too much change for them across the board is huge. But I do think it's going to come down to that battle at the stripe for a lot of this, and like how the Water Dogs choose to contain Connor Farrell at the stripe, with their deployment of either a face-off guy, if they put their pole out there like they were doing against Atlas to try to neutralize Trevor a little bit. I think that's going to be a key in this one. And then I think it's also going to be interesting to see who's in cage for them, whether it's Dylan Ward or Matt DeLuca.
They're going against Connor at the stripe.
Isn't that what I said? Yeah, I'm saying like
you said Trevor.
Right, but that's what they did when they ended up winning in Columbus. Yeah. Like that's what they did against Trevor. If they do that against Connor Farrell, like see how that plays out. If they decide to just keep rolling out face-off guy, or do they put an Eli Gobrecht or something like that to try to neutralize Connor a little bit and get him off his game? Because I think, no offense to Connor, it's easier to get a Connor Farrell kind of thrown off a little bit than it is Trevor. But Connor's still going to be physical at the stripe, so it's going to be a interesting task that they have at hand. And then whoever's playing goalie for Water Dogs is also going to be key. So I'm going with the Dogs. I think it's going to be a close game, but we'll see how it all plays out, obviously, and that's why they play the games. Then we got the Paul Rabel Bowl. It's Cannons. It's Atlas. Deej, I don't know about you. I like the way this Cannons team went into the break. I like the energy Coach Holman is bringing to this team. And they just feel positive about themselves. And I think that's something Cannons lacked a lot last year as a locker room. Just feeling positive and feeling like good about themselves as a locker room and as a team. I think they have great leadership in there. And finally getting that first win since week 1 of 2022 off their backs. They can kind of play loose now. They can play free and play their game. I like Cannons in a high-scoring affair.
This one's been really hard for me, but as a former defensive player, as a defensive side of the ball coach, defense is always something I lean heavy on and look at a lot. These are two very unproven defenses, if we really boil it down and look at it. But when we do look at the proven pieces, I think Atlas has just a few more of them. Craig Chick isn't terrible. Like, he's not the greatest LSM, but he's not awful, right? And then you still have Tucker Durkin. You still have Michael Rexroth. You have Danny Logan, Peter Durth. Like, the pieces that they have on the defensive end can supplement and give Jack Kincannon or Drake Porter a solid opportunity to save the ball consistently. And I just think their defense is going to be able to hold the Cannons' attack line and midfield a little bit better than Pulver and company can do with T and Chris Gray, etc.
I'm also high on young homie Kirst playing goalie for this Cannons team too. I like the way he's just been composed, even dating back to last season when he was playing down the stretch. He's just very relaxed in cage, which is a rare thing, especially for somebody that young. I just like his style of play, and I think that's a huge thing. And Holman having faith and trust in him is huge too. So that's why I'm rocking with Cannons. Deej has Atlas. Moving on to Sunday. Both these games on Saturday. Moving to Sunday, 2 p.m. Game of the week, ESPN2. Redwoods Chaos. What you got, Deej? What you got for me in the OTB? We just hope everyone has fun bowl.
This one's really hard, obviously, because we just hope that everyone has fun.
Also, before you keep going, make sure you vote for Ian McKay for the All-Star game.
And being so close, being so close to so many of these players and coaching staff and having ties onto both sides, this is always an extremely hard game to call. But I'm looking beyond all of that for this game and looking at schematics and looking at schedules, how they play out for the rest of the year, and looking at playoff hopes, looking at championship series, all of that. This is almost a must-win for the Redwoods. I think they're going to take extreme advantage of this opportunity to be in a position to pretty much play solely for first place. After playing so badly last week, I think is something they won't take for granted, and it's something that they can use as motivation. And that's kind of just my viewpoint, is they're going to take advantage and be blessed to have the opportunity to be going for first place after what they went through last week. And it always sucks losing to your rival. And it's always that extra kick. A lot of these guys just played on Team USA and feel good after winning the gold. There's just a lot of good mojo added to the motivation of having a chance to be solely in first place for the first time in 2 years.
Ever? I feel like it's been ever.
Yeah, 2 years, 2.5 years, maybe.
Singular sole possession. I don't know if they've ever held that.
Yeah, that too.
That's some research. Well, we need an OT.
I mean, I don't think it. I personally don't think they would hold singular full possession here. They have the tiebreaker over the Water Dogs, but not the Archers, and it would come down to score differential. And I think the Archers would outdo them in score differential, so they would have a piece of it. But I think it's still been 2 years plus since they've had a piece of first place.
I mean, it's closer than you would think for anybody that doesn't know the score differential of the four teams at the top right now that are all 2-1. Chaos have a +5, Archers have a +3, Water Dogs have +1, Redwoods are -5.
Yep.
So it's not like the Redwoods are kind of buried per se. You would just have to win by, let's say,
probably
3 or 4
8
goals this week and hope the Archers lose.
Well, Archers and Water Dogs. Because hypothetically, the Water Dogs get first place because of the score differential.
I forget. I know score differential's at the top. I forget if it's record head-to-head or...
Yeah, I can't remember if head-to-head jumps score differential or not.
It might. We'll have to look.
Yeah, I said I don't want to sound like a dummy and say one thing.
Something tells me head-to-head comes first.
For some reason, and I think that's why I said it earlier.
And then score differential is next.
Yeah, but
it could be the other way. I forget, but
either either way, I don't think they'll have sole possession because I think at least one of those teams is going to win. I won't spoil anything for our next pick since we haven't gotten there yet. But yeah, I think they'll at least have a share. But like we mentioned, it's been a while since even that.
I'm going with the Redwoods as well, but I think for a completely different reason than you. Because I think this game for both teams, you can make the argument, is a must-win. I am going with the Redwoods for 2 reasons. One, Ryder versus Blaze matchup. Ryder, the way he's been carrying this team all season so far, and then you give him the opportunity to perform against, for whatever reason, it's like he is the kryptonite to Blaze Reardon. And on top of that, who's been a dog this year, should be an all-star, who's going to be out this week? Number 99, Jack Rowlett. I think Jack being out of the lineup this week, shifting the defense a little bit, maybe shifting a little bit of the responsibilities across the defense as well. I think that's a huge loss for this Chaos defense. Not that they don't have the ability to have that next man up mentality, because they are the team personified of next man up, but Jack is one of, if not the best defender on the planet right now, and to not have him sucks in this matchup. So I think I'm going with the Redwoods, and they need to take advantage of that. You know, with no Jack in the lineup, with Ryder's ability to somehow have the Da Vinci Code to figuring out Blaze, you need to take advantage of that. So I'm going to go with the Redwoods for those 2 reasons. And I think it's going to be a very close game, too. Like, this gives me the vibes of last year in Dallas when these 2 teams played, where it was like a 1-goal game for pretty much the entire game, and then Chaos pulled away towards the end. But I think this is going to be a 1 to 2 goal game, potentially, unless Ryder's able to pop off and have like 8 goals in this game, which, who knows? You know, basic game for Ryder this year has been 6 goals, and now he's going against the one guy who he knows how to beat. He could have, he might have 12. Who knows? But I'm going to go with the Redwoods as well in this game, but I think it's going to be a very competitive game, and I like that this is the game of the week as well. And then the final matchup, Whipsnakes, Archers. Who you got in the Will Manny revenge game?
I like the Archers. This one just goes like a full team, and just the swagger they've carried themselves with, how hard they've played, how unselfish and team first they've played, and they're literally just out there having a good time, enjoying the Creators game the way it's been meant to be played. And it's something special when you're doing that. And I think just their first loss of the year stung a little bit. And they don't want to feel that ever again, especially not at the hands of Will Manny. So I like the Archers, though. I think they're really putting together a season that people have been expecting out of them for quite some time.
I'm going with the Archers as well. Like you said, they're like a complete team pretty much in a lot of aspects. I think Will is going to get his in this game, so I would also advise people to pick Will Manny in fantasy this week if you can. But I just like this Archers team a lot. You guys know we were high on them coming into the year. We were probably one of the first people to be like, yo, buy in on this Archers team, because they're going to be fun, they're going to be different, and they're going to win a lot of games. And I think they put some things together against this Whipsnakes team, and it'll be kind of a litmus test in a way of like, oh, we can beat this team. We're still, you know, that team we think we thought we were coming out of, you know, training camp, and how we can perform. Also, player to watch in this game, Mac O'Keefe. I think Mac's going to have a fun time in this matchup. So, yeah, I'm going with the Archers as well. So there's our picks of the week, brought to you by Trophy Smack for Minnesota. It's the Water Dogs for both of us. I've got Cannons. DJ has Atlas. Both have Redwoods, and we both have Archers. Let us know your picks in the YouTube comment section. And those are our PLL Minnesota picks of the week, powered by Trophy Smack, brought to you from the Pick Pond. That's all we got for you guys this week. Make sure you're following us on the socials at OTBLaxPod, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Threads. We're on all of them at OTBLaxPod. Facebook.com/undergroundsportsphi as well. Follow Deej on Twitter at SCS_next. Follow me at KBIZZL311. Subscribe to the podcast feed, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. We're about 30 Spotify followers away from a pretty nice milestone, so if you're not following us on Spotify, do us a favor, follow us on Spotify, subscribe on Apple, leave a 5-star review. It does go a long way for helping this show continue to grow, helps more people find OTB and Underground Sports Philadelphia. Working on getting some guests lined up for the next couple of weeks, which will be very, very exciting. So stay tuned for that. And subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel, youtube.com/@Underground Sports Philadelphia. That's where you get full video episodes of this show, every show on our network, clips, shorts, interviews, live streams. Speaking of live streams, potentially DJ and myself on Monday night. So I will definitely be there. Deej will let us know via his social medias, to be determined, the handles and what social medias they are. But I know lacrosse and baseball, they don't mix. They're not supposed to mix. Well, they do here. Home Run Derby, watch along, companion stream exclusively on the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. Moonshot Mania is what we have rebranded it to. Very excited for that. Myself, Patty Pitts, potentially Stevie Mack, Ben Piro, potentially Deej, and some other guests as well, with a companion stream for the Home Run Derby. Deej, did you see who's in the Derby?
I did.
Might be in the pantheon of coolest Home Run Derby lineup of all time, even though that nerd, sneech-looking freak Pete Alonso is in it.
You gotta chill.
Only reason he still adds to the cool factor is that, like, this is the only time he actually shows up and performs.
That's fair. That is fair.
You got Mookie Betts, Luis Robert Jr., Sneech Alonso. That's what I'm going to start calling him from now on, actually. Sneech Alonso. You got Adolis Garcia, Julio Rodriguez, the hometown kid, playing for the Mariners, and it's in Seattle. Adley Rushman from the Orioles, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., and who is the other? Oh, one of the coolest players in baseball, Randy Arozarena. Very excited for the Home Run Derby. So tune in, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, youtube.com/@Underground Sports Philadelphia. We're going to be doing a companion stream there. Would love to have OTB Nation in the comment section. We'll be interacting with the chat and all that good stuff. So go subscribe. We need 600 subscribers before the end of the month. And we need 1,000 subscribers for hashtag DJ1K. Otherwise, DJ is moving to Alaska. So don't make Deej move to Alaska. He doesn't want to freeze. He doesn't want to grow a Duck Dynasty beard. Get us to 1,000 subscribers before DJ's birthday.
I could be okay with the beard.
He said, well,
I don't be eating nothing.
Go subscribe so DJ doesn't have to move to Alaska for his birthday and he'll be at Gillette instead. That's also ironic. Duck Dynasty beard, Gillette, no free ads. Get your merch as well. phiapparel.co, code underground, 10% off any and all merch orders. It's the most effective and direct way to support everything we're doing. Let's have ourselves a weekend of lacrosse, ladies and gents. The shot clock is back. Let's ride. Minnesota, let's have a weekend. Also, we didn't even touch on this. The Indigenous Heritage Weekend is this weekend. Those jerseys look beautiful. I can't wait to see them in full display. Always an awesome weekend, and the PLL always does Indigenous Heritage celebration the correct way. So very much looking forward to just everything that's going to happen on the broadcast and going on live in Minnesota. So enjoy the weekend of lacrosse. come join us on the live tweeting and threading and TikToking and all that good stuff. But this has been episode number 282 of the allegedly award-nominated, honorably mentioned, viewable on YouTube, number 9 NCAA ranked, and now on TikTok and Threads, Outside the Box podcast, the official lacrosse podcast on the Underground Sports Philadelphia Podcast Network. For Deej, I'm KB. We'll be back next week, getting ready for Fairfield, which I will be there. So if you're going to be in Fairfield, let your boy know. And also Dan Orlovsky, come on the podcast. Till then, we're getting the heck up out of here. Peace.